What's good, everyone? Welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing peak season 2022 so far. So it is currently December 12th while I'm filming this. I might release this today, so I guess we'll see what happens. But peak has now been going on for basically 2 weeks now, pretty much 2.5 weeks. It starts the week of Thanksgiving, which was 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. Peak's pretty much been going on for 3 weeks now. And I made a video a couple of weeks ago, maybe like 3 weeks ago, almost a month ago, discussing and pretty much asking or answering the question, will peak be different this year due to multiple things? One of those things just being the current climate of the economy, and that one being the main reason, but also like overhiring and overstaffing at a lot of Amazon facilities and all types of different things that were going to possibly contribute to a different peak. And I asked that question. My answer pretty much was, I don't really know for sure, but if I had to guess, it's still going to be a really busy peak. However, it will be slightly less busier than usual. And there was a lot of people on Reddit, and I discussed this in that video as well, who were saying that peak is just going to be completely flat out dead. And then there was a lot of people who also, well, maybe not a lot of people, but there was a few people who also said it's just going to be a normal peak. It's going to be as busy as usual. And now 3 weeks in, we found ourselves in a position where I can definitely say, yes, this is very site dependent what I'm about to say, but peak is pretty dead, especially in comparison to multiple other peaks. Never before have I seen peak this dead before. Like at my site specifically, we are getting a lot of VTO. Every single week there has been VTO released, which during peak is mind-boggling. It is, I would never have ever in my entire Amazon life imagined that there would be VTO during peak. That is just unheard of, crazy to say, and it's happening. I took VTO twice last week. Low-key took VTO twice the week before that. I haven't really been going through the usual strains of peak of working the 5 or 6 day weeks, and I know that this is just my site. I know at a site kind of close to me, maybe like 45 minutes away, I have somebody in my Discord who works there. By the way, if you haven't joined my Discord, link is in the description. But there's somebody else who works at that site, and they said that their site's pretty much been busy the whole time. They've been going through the whole VET, and I also believe MET schedule as well, so it's pretty normal over there, and that site is just 45 minutes away. But at my site, and I'll go more into detail throughout the rest of this video about how it has been at my site, but currently there has been VTO, and that's like insane to think about during peak. I said in that previous video I could never see something like this happening, but we're going through it, we're experiencing it, and it's happening. Now I do think I know why. Other than just the economy being kind of in shambles right now, I think I do know some more reasons, and like I said, I'll go more into detail about that. But I've also talked to other people at different sites. There's a lot of other sites where it is still completely hectic. Like I've seen on Reddit, there's a lot of people who are doing 6 days worth of MET, and even in my Discord, there's people who aren't working full-time, but at their sites, the full-timers ended up going from having to work 5/12s, I believe it was, to 6/12s or something like that. Whatever the maximum amount of hours that you can work. I know you can work 60 hours per week. Whatever that is, they're doing that. There's people who are working 6 day weeks, mandatory. They are doing MET for 6 days straight at other sites, which is completely unheard of for me. Even during last year and the year before, when peak was extremely busy, I had never seen them do mandatory 6 day weeks. I didn't even know that they could do a mandatory 6 day week because the overtime day for my shift schedule is just Sunday. It doesn't say Sunday, Monday, and it definitely doesn't say like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It just says Sunday. So I'm still not even sure that if it was really that busy, if they could even drag me in for another day. I feel like if they could, they would have done it in previous years. So maybe they can't, but I've seen it. Other sites, it's so insanely busy at other sites that they're doing 6 day weeks now and they're getting one rest day. And that's absolutely horrific. But at other sites, it's similar to mine. I've also seen this on Reddit where a lot of people are saying they're getting VTO. And in my Discord, I'm pretty much the only site who is getting VTO. But like I said, at other sites on Reddit, other people are saying that they're drowning in VTO right now. It's not really busy. Some people are just getting no work at all. And there's also other sites where it's just a normal peak season. You know, you're doing your normal 5 day weeks and that's it. It's not too slow. It's not too busy. The workflow is normal. And it just seems like this is the most different peak of all time. And what I mean by different is like it really varies per site. Some sites really busy, other sites like my own not busy at all, and then you got that middle ground where it's just a normal peak. And it's weird. This is really weird because usually during peak season, it's usually that utmost level of busyness everywhere. Like if you've never worked a normal peak season before, or if this is your first peak at Amazon and you are going through a really busy time, just know that that is normal. Usually that is how peak is at all sites. But for a few reasons, whatever those reasons may be, I'll discuss that going forward as well. It's not like that this year, and every site varies a lot, and it's crazy. It's really weird to see Amazon like this. It's really weird to see a slow peak season, especially on my site. But I'll go into like, I guess, a little bit of speculation because there's no hardcore like hard cold facts here. I'm just speculating and kind of giving why I think peak isn't that busy, at least at my site. And like I said, I know at a lot of other sites as well, they're going through the same thing as me, where it's just not as busy as it usually is. So I'll go into that now. And like one of the main reasons being what I discussed in my last video, it's just the economy right now. A lot of people are spending less. A lot of people aren't going to be buying Christmas presents this year, and the ones that aren't going to be buying as much as usual. Not all of them, obviously, but there's a lot of people who have been impacted by the increase in price of everything, and you know, they're having to save a little bit more and not spend as much as they usually would for Christmas. So you have that on one hand, where the main reason being, yes, the economy has affected it, and that's a reason that a lot of sites are currently slow at the moment. I think another reason being that, and this is probably one of the biggest reasons, I think, aside from the economy, I think like the second reason, if you haven't worked at Amazon for this whole entire year, I'll kind of go into detail on what happened earlier this year. So usually peak season, well, earlier this year and the end of last year. So usually peak season is like from the middle of November. The official peak dates are Thanksgiving to Christmas, but peak to me is before and after that. So usually it starts around the middle of November and it ends pretty much on Christmas Day, sometimes around New Year's, but pretty much Christmas Day. It's no longer busy after that. That is the usual standard schedule for peak. That happened in 2020, and that almost happened, or actually that did happen, or sorry, yes, that happened in 2021. But for whatever reason, carrying into 2022, I have no reason at all. I have no idea why this happened, but for whatever reason, pretty much all sites around the country at Amazon had a huge influx of work, like an insane amount of work came in, and we got slammed extremely hard in January. And at most sites, MET continued. At majority of sites actually, MET continued throughout after December. So not only did peak last from the middle of November, it also went into also went to December, and it stayed until January and continued. And not only did it stay in January, it got much worse than it was in December. I literally have no clue why this happened. To this day, I still don't know why. It's been almost a year since that happened, and I really do not know why, but we just got slammed extremely hard at Amazon in January, and that slam didn't really end until middle of February, towards the end of February, honestly, and for a lot of sites, it even went into March. Again, don't ask me why this happened. I literally don't have a clue why, but it happened. It got extremely busy during that time period, and peak got extended pretty much 2 months. So peak was around 3 to 4 months last year, which was insane. And during this time, I guess a lot of sites started panicking a lot and started realizing, like, we did not expect this. Holy crap, we need to figure something out. And they mass hired. And not only did they mass hire, they overhired. And I would probably assume they hired double the amount of employees that they needed. So usually you only need, on a regular day throughout June or July, usually you really only need about 100 stowers. You could get away with 100 stowers. This time, every day you went to work, or at least at my site, and I know like this happened at a lot of other sites as well, there was 200 stowers at minimum. There was 200 stowers all the time. And I know that this isn't just a thing that happened at my site, because I saw this in my Discord and I saw this on Reddit. We overhired really bad after that freak accident basically that happened in January and February. And that also led to a lot of people getting laid off, a lot of seasonal employees getting laid off, but not everyone was a seasonal employee, and a lot of the blue badges got to stick around. And like I said, we were just overstaffed. And that caused, onwards from February to even now until December, that just caused a massive VTO blow up. There was VTO every day, every single day of the year there was VTO. And a lot of people weren't quitting. Don't get me wrong, there were a lot of people that did quit, but throughout this year, from my personal experience, I've seen a lot of people stay at Amazon much more than usual. It's usually not like this where this many people stay here throughout the year. Usually you get the people who come in for peak, they stay in November, most of them quit around December and January, and then that's it. It slows down and it balances itself out. This year we overhired in January and February, and like I said, we massively overhired, doubled to triple the amount of employees that we actually needed, and a lot of those people stayed. A lot of them stayed, and so now we're going into December, and even though it's peak season, because we overhired so much during that time period, back then in January and February, I think that it's just there's so many employees that not everyone has work, not everyone has stations, and there's not enough work to go around. When you have 5,000 employees in a building at once, you don't need that many employees, and there's just not enough work. Even during peak, there's not enough work coming in, and also the fact that the economy is a little bit shit right now, it's not balanced out. There's normal amount of work, maybe a little bit less amount of work, and there's just way too many employees. And like I said, this did cause a layoff at a lot of Amazon sites, but it didn't really happen at my site, at least not for the permanent Blue Badge employees. And it's just overstaffed. I think overstaffing this year was a big problem. It was a big problem throughout the entire year, which was why a lot of sites were pretty much drowning in VTO. I know mine was this year. This year, for the first year ever, we had VTO pretty much every single week, or at least once or twice a month in every single month of the year, which I've never seen happen, aside or excluding January and February. Maybe some of February, but definitely excluding January. I've never seen VTO last this long. Usually you get the usual January VTO after peak, and sometimes that'll go into February as well. But after February, there's no more VTO for the rest of the year, except on some occasions. Maybe they'll release some random ones throughout the week. But like I said, for the most part, VTO has never been this frequent. This year was the year of VTO. So if you're a fan of VTO, congratulations, because this was your year. And yeah, just the overstaffing problem, I think, is a really big reason why Amazon is a little bit slower at some sites. And anyone whose site experienced the overstaffing, which of course mine did, we're getting VTO in December because there's just not enough stations and not enough work to go around for all of these employees. It's better to release VTO than have your employees come in and make overtime hours and they're just sitting on their phone and not even working at a station. So it makes perfect sense why the overstaffing happened, and I understand. It's just crazy. I didn't see this happening. I didn't expect it to happen. I didn't expect peak season to be like this, but that's my peak season experience at my site so far. The first week of peak, it started off a little bit slow. The week of Thanksgiving, it started off a little bit slow, but then it really picked up the last couple of days of Thanksgiving. And the last couple of days that week, like the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday after that, it picked up and it got busy. And I was like, okay, so we are having a normal peak season here. We got into the next week, which, let me check the calendar real quick. Okay, I got the right calendar. But yeah, the week from the 27th to the 3rd, that one, there was VTO released. And that's when I realized, like, what the hell? There's VTO during peak. And when I was at work, it was fairly busy. Not as busy as a usual peak, but it was still fairly busy. But then they released those random VTOs on Wednesday and Thursday, and I took them. I was like, okay, if there's going to be VTO during peak, I'm going to take it. Happened the following week after that as well, and I just finished my last day of the week yesterday. I gotta go back in on Wednesday, and it's been busy. There's been a lot of reactives. There's been a ton of reactives, to be fair. A lot of Christmas orders coming in, and it's busy. Don't get me wrong, it's busy at my site, but I just think that it's not as busy as usual, close to it possibly, but not as busy as usual for peak. And like I said, overstaffing means that there's not enough people, there's not enough work to go around. And also, even on my MET days or even on other people's VET days, people have been going in and not having work. It just doesn't make any sense. But yeah, this peak season has been very weird. Definitely the strangest so far. I guess peak 2022 is just the weird one of the bunch. Of all the ones that I've worked, it's definitely the weirdest one so far. And yeah, we have currently right now, I am drowning in VET. There is so much VET on my app right now. If I open my app, there would be like 8 VET shifts. I have MET. I have to work MET on Sunday, although I am taking Sunday off because it's the World Cup day, and hopefully Argentina faces France or Morocco in the finals. I hope so. Messi can win his World Cup. And there's just a lot of VTO too. It's a mixture of VET, VTO, and MET all in the same week for the last couple weeks. It makes absolutely no sense to me. I don't understand why this is happening, but hey, we take it. It's a weird peak season. And yeah, I pretty much wanted to just come on and give a little mid-peak video. Peak does end in, actually today's the 12th. Peak's over in 2 weeks. We just got 2 more weeks to go, so we're almost done with peak. So if you're watching this video, hopefully you've enjoyed your peak season as much as you possibly can. If not, just hang in there. We have 2 more weeks left, and as long as we don't get slammed in January like we did last year, or earlier this year technically, we should be okay, and peak season will finally end, and hopefully it does. But yeah, dang, I'm out of breath now. Long video. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Let me know down in the comments below how your peak season is going so far. Let me know if your site is getting VTO at all. I'm really curious to see how many people are getting VTO, or if this is kind of just a my site thing. I know a few other sites are getting it as well, but it doesn't seem to be the popular thing right now. It doesn't seem like all sites are getting it, just mine and a few others. But yeah, comment down below, like I said, how your peak's going, if you enjoyed this video. And yeah, follow me on Instagram at Nathan Padilla. Link is in the description below. Join my Discord as well if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Leave a like if you haven't as well. I'm out of breath. I'm tired. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Love you all. Peace.